This is the Anything Show with John Francois.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, Zach, man. Oh, God. So, first of all, my fiance, a big fan of Shameless, and you on Shameless. So, yeah, of course, anytime. And I saw this movie, Sanctioning Evil, and I've got to ask, sort of like for elevator speech purposes, for anybody who is not familiar with this film, I couldn't help but, watch it and think like, wow, this is like, I think I'm watching a movie about a military guy who is sort of encouraged by this politician, to be sort of like a hitman for like child trafficking related criminals. Is that like kind of a good way to describe the movie, or am I just kind of...
I think that's actually kind of like the good elevator pitch for it. Yeah, he, Dakota obviously has an axe to grind with that world. We find out later in the movie that's a personal thing for him. And then, the same is true with Barnes, and Barnes kind of got the short end of the stick on the military discharge, the dishonorable discharge, which, is a bad spot to be in. You lose all your benefits and all of those. He basically, Dakota kind of hires or kind of convinces Barnes to take the mantle of this using his skill set. So yeah, it's definitely not your normal fare, but I felt like the traffickers and all that, were a good backdrop for kind of a bad guy for a thriller.
Yeah, and maybe a silly question, but what drew you to this role? Is it just exactly what we're describing? The fact that it just it just had a certain different quality to this story, or like? What really drew me to it, just as an actor, I rarely get an opportunity to kind of play the buttoned up politician and suited up guy. So that was what drew it to me, drew me to it, right away. But also, I'd done a couple movies with Rob Simmons, the producer, and Karen. This was Manning. This was, I think, the third movie I've done with her. So I knew the team, and it was kind of mid-pandemic when we were shooting it. So I was kind of going crazy in my house with 4 kids and no schools and all that. And I got to take a break and go play this guy. So it was a win-win. Now, the theme, or one of the themes that seems to pop out to me from watching this movie, is sort of the not too supportive relationship the men and women who serve our country may have with our government once their service is up. Like when they're serving, it seems like all is well and we're putting in the money.
Support our troops. Yeah.
Exactly. But then once, they're coming back home and they're trying to find a job and medical benefits and stuff like that, maybe they're not getting the support that they need from their own government. So I'm wondering if the director, the writer of this movie, was that an intentional theme placed on there?
Yeah, it certainly was. Actually, another really thing that drew me to it was that obviously Dakota ran this veterans outreach program. And I don't know if my father runs the United War Veterans Council and actually puts on the Veterans Day Parade every year through that organization, and was part of starting that. And veteran, my dad is a Marine, my brother's a Marine, and yes, that's a big problem in our country. Obviously, that we provide so many resources to the military and to those serving, but then after service, a lot slip through the cracks. I mean, I think pretty much everyone's aware of the mental health crisis that is occurring and all of that. So yeah, that was a big part of it, and it really spoke to me. And it was important for the writers as well, who feel the same way.
Did you research into, like, in preparation for your politician character? Did you research into particular politicians? Just to try to get an idea of what it would be like to inhabit that, because of course politicians get their fair share of criticism for not doing what they're paid to do, which is serve the people, and especially. Talk about looking out for the men and women of our military. I mean, I think that's certainly apparent. So,
yeah. I mean, I think these days researching politicians is it's like right in front of us all the time. That's kind of our our bread and butter these days. We listen to people say things that they either don't mean or that they're just, kind of trying to say to earn our vote. But yeah, I think one of the very important parts to me, actually, when I spoke to Ante, the director, the first time, I was like, so is he a Democrat or Republican? And Ante was like, what do you think? I was like, well, I hope he's an independent. But I was like, maybe we don't have to broach that subject. Maybe that's, maybe we'll wear a blue tie and a red tie over the course of the movie. And so that was kind of important to bridge that gap and kind of make people, whoever you are, hopefully you can, hopefully you would have voted for Dakota.
Now, you mentioned earlier working for the third time with actress Taryn Manning, who I absolutely loved on Orange Is the New Black. So, I mean, there must be a decent chemistry with you guys. I mean, if you're, working together this many times, I mean, what is it like to work with her? I almost feel like it's kind of like, you're kind of working with a family member at this point.
Yeah, she's great. We, at this point, we've played so many different kind of characters around each other and whatnot. She's just a prolific actor who's been, doing great work for such a long period of time, and to have a chance to work with her again and to work with Tobias for the first time, it was really. It's fun. I mean, I love making movies. So like most people who work with me, even like everything can be going wrong and I'm still having a good time making movies. So, like nothing can bring me down when I'm working. Like I love it. So, working with great people just makes it even easier and even more fun.
Awesome. Well, Zach McGowan, a pleasure to talk to you. I know that Sanctioning Evil is in theaters and on demand now. And of course, people can watch you on the Starz series, Black Sails. Of course, they can watch past episodes of Shameless. So this has been great. Take care and best of luck on the success of the movie.
All right. Thanks so much.
The Anything Show with John Francois is on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. Join us on YouTube, Facebook.com/The Anything Show, and Instagram and TikTok @Anything Show Francois.